Good evening, guys. I'm back to talk about terms that writers should know. Okay, we're going to start off with plot. What is a plot? If somebody asks you, what's a plot of your story? What's it about? So, a plot is the sequence of events that are inside the story that makes the person want to go on and read it. A plot is a sequence of events. They can be good events that have happened to the character, or bad events that have happened to the character that's made him what he is and what he's going through right now. So, that's your plot. Conflict. That's a central struggle. It's right along there with plot. It's a central struggle. What's this character struggling against? What's going on? What's made him like he is? That's the conflict. Then the theme. What are you trying to tell the people with this story? Are you trying to inspire them or bring them hope or teaching them how to do something or how to solve the problems? What's your theme? What's the story basic idea? Usually when you read a book, there's a theme. Now, like I said, the theme is what you're trying to get across to the reader. Like if it's a mystery, you might be trying to get across to the reader that all crimes are bad and they happen, but sometimes there's conditions that lead up to certain crimes. So you're trying to teach them not to judge all people by what happens in their life. Some people can change, some people don't change. So that's your theme, is to show them that there can be good come out of bad. Okay. Now, characterization. Now, when you have a story, you have characters, of course, and so you're going to tell the people about these characters. I mean, you can't just just say John is, he's a good guy. How do we know that? We don't know anything about John. How does John look? Is he tall, short? Does he have blonde hair, blue eyes? Does he have black hair, brown eyes? Is he Asian? Is he Caucasian? Is he African? What? And we need to know all about him, his height, his build, exactly how he looks. That's your characterization. You're describing your characters so that your audience understands who they are. And when they hear these people talking about this character, they say, oh, that's John. Yeah, he's the one that's got the scar on his face, or he's the one that gets mad so easily. So that's your character. You're building your characters so people in the book, when they read it, can say, okay, this character that's why he's like he is. And another character, she laughs and she's jolly all the time because she's had a good life. But maybe John didn't have a good life. So you want to build your character so that people understand who they are, their emotions, what moves them, what drives them, how they look. Do they have any special features? Do they have any special scars? Anything about them that's going to make them stand out to the reader. That's what your characterization is. Now, setting. Where does this story take place? Is it out west? Is it in New York? Where is this? Is it out on an island somewhere? You want to let your people know where the story's happening. Like if it's in Arizona, or if it's New York, it's Boston, Maine, or wherever. Just like with certain pictures you watch, they start off with the setting. You see a beautiful island, you see trees and swaying palms. So you know it's taking place somewhere in the Caribbean. That's your setting. So, or it may start off with big buildings, tall skyscrapers. And, then you think, okay, this is either in Chicago, New York, or somewhere, until they exactly let you know where they're talking about, where this story is happening. Like in certain pictures, they'll say the murders in this city are astronomical. And so that makes me think of something like The Naked City. Like they said, there's 10 million stories in The Naked City. This is one of them. So the people have to be able to understand where the setting is. Because certain settings already bring to mind certain activities. Like when you hear New York, you think, shamefully to say, crime, murders. Same, like sometimes with Chicago, big cities. Automatically, your mind just goes there because so much happens in big cities. So if the story is taking place in New York, you can kind of get an idea, unless they tell you specifically this is a mystery. Then you know it's something about crime, or this is a romantic story. You have to build your audience the background of where this is taking place so they know. They're not going to see cowboys in New York. Maybe if you'd watched stuff like McCloud, the TV series that used to be on McCloud, he came from New Mexico to New York. But you have to let your audience know where the setting is. Where is this story taking place? It's taking place in the Caribbean, like I said. It's taking place in New York, Chicago, Colorado. So they'll get an idea what's going on there. And then you have to know what a protagonist. Okay, There's a protagonist and there's an antagonist. Now, pro means for. So usually the reader is for the protagonist. That's the good guy. And we want to see everything that happens to him to be good. You want to see him reach his goal, win the woman, or win the war, or whatever. But he's a good guy, and he's striving to get all this done. But there comes in the protagonist, the bad guy. He's going to do everything he or she can to make sure that this guy or this gal does not reach the goal that she's after. So there's always a protagonist and always an antagonist. Pro for the good guy, antagonist for the bad guy. So every story you read, there you can pick out right away who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. I mean, I watch shows on TV now, on different channels, and I love the old movies. Especially, I love Murder, She Wrote, Columbo, and stuff like that. I just like mysteries and stuff. So automatically, when I'm watching those shows, you can tell, kind of. Let me take my glasses off so you won't see all these flashes in my eye. But you can already get a hint of who the bad guy is. Now, usually they'll start off, sometimes they'll come and show you who the killer is or who the antagonist is. But then you have to go back to the whole story and try to figure out why this is happening to this guy. You know who did it, but why did he do it? So protagonist, antagonist. Those are the good guys and the bad guys. The good guys trying to reach the goal of settling everything and tying it all up in a neat package at the end so everything falls in the line and everything he wants to accomplish, he does. Antagonist going to do everything they can. Sometimes it can be one person or it can be a group of people or whatever. But they're going to do everything they can to see that you don't reach that goal. So you should know what a protagonist is and antagonist. Because when you go to book signs, a lot of times, I've had people come up and say to me, how did you get the plot for your story? So if you don't know what plot means, then you might be sitting there, So what they're asking is, how did you get this idea? What caused you to have this idea? How did you decide to write this story? Why did you write this story? So you need to know these terms because they'll ask you, well, where's the setting? If somebody comes up and says, I haven't read your book, but I'd love to read it, so I'm going to buy it now. But where's the setting? Where's it taking place at? You should know what setting means. You should know what setting means so that you can already get that across to them in the very beginning. You might start out your story by saying, she loved New York, but she decided to move to Boston. So 2 big cities, that's taking place in 2 big cities. She left one big city and went to another big city. Or maybe she decided that she was going to sell her home and go to the islands for peace and calm and quiet. Automatically, you think maybe Caribbean, maybe Hawaii. So you should get an idea. So people want to know where's the setting. You should be able to tell them it takes place in so. That's what you want. You want to be able to tell them where the setting takes place. And if they say, well, what can you give me a little hint of what the story's about? Then what they're really saying, they want to know something about what's the struggle, what's the plot, what's the conflict that's going on. That's why you need a blurb on the back of the book and covers it. All that stuff helps you convey to your audience what the plot is to a little extent, not a whole bunch, but it helps you to let them get an idea of what the story's about. See, people will come up and you think they just want you to sign their book. They'll ask you questions. And if you don't know the answer, then they'll say, boy, I don't know how she's a writer. She couldn't even answer that question. Said, I don't know if I want to read that book. So you don't want that. You want, excuse me. Oh, excuse my light went out here, guys. I'm using a different, okay, excuse me there. I'm using a different computer, so if the light went out, I'm so sorry. I had to put this over here by me because this one, when it goes down, see, if I move over this way, you see it gets dark. But anyway, this is just part 1, so you should know these basic terms right here. You should know what plot is, which is a sequence of events that's happening in the story that makes you want to read it. The conflict, what's the central struggle? What's going on in this story? What is he trying to reach that he can't reach, that somebody's trying to stop him? And the theme, what you're trying to say to your reader. Are you trying to build hope, inspiration, or just teach them something? You need to know what the theme of your story is. And characterization, you have to develop your characters. Characters are not stick people. You have to make them come alive to your readers. Characters are important. So you need to describe each character to some extent. Maybe not as much as the main character, the hero of the story, but you need to describe how they look, their height, their build, they have any facial scars or anything like that? You know, how they dress, are they fancy dresser or whatever? You need to describe that character so that people, when they read it, they know exactly how he looks, exactly how he would act. And then the setting, where it takes place, the whole thing of where it takes place. It's in the city, the country, Caribbean, Hawaii, you know, Africa, Asia. They need to know, you know, setting is very important. You could start off with a, what it, oh, there's so many things for setting. Like you can start off in the Caribbean, being on a boat, a cruise ship or something. So the person gets an idea when it's open up your story and say, it was a nice cruise. I just hated to get off the boat and leave. So you know that they had been someplace on a cruise. You don't know exactly where, but you know the setting was on a cruise ship. So maybe something happened on the cruise ship. You don't know. So you got to make sure that you get all the settings so people can understand exactly. I know I wrote a book one time, and it took place in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I had to study that because I didn't know Jackson Hole. And the lady wrote me and said, I think I told you this before. She said, I knew exactly what street you were talking about. I knew exactly where that shop was. I knew exactly what was going on. She said, you described that perfectly. You have to describe it perfectly for your reader. And the last one, the protagonist, the good guy, the antagonist, the bad guy, oh, the antagonist. Even in life, you can look at some people, they're just not for you. They're the antagonists in your life. And others are just root you on and say, come on, you can do it. That's the protagonist. They're for you. So know those terms. I'm coming back with part 2 tomorrow. So, I didn't wear anything fancy today because we were out and we were gone a long time. We were gone a long time. We came back. And so now we're just resting. So I didn't do anything fancy. I just got this, you know, just a little overlay outfit, blouse and skirt and pair of leggings. But anyway, so I'm going to come back with part 2. So if I seem a little rushed, please forgive me. Like I said, we were gone a long time. And I was tired. But a writer should know these terms. I'll be back tomorrow with part 2. There's other terms that you should know also that I didn't get into. But if you have problems, look it up on the internet. Look up characterization, look up plot, look up theme, look up conflict, look up setting, look up protagonist, antagonist, and they'll give you a better description. I'm just trying to make it simple because when you go to school, a lot of times they drag it out and they give you so much information that you say, I want to remember all this, but I can't. So I'm trying to bring it down to where the rubber meets the road, where you can understand it easy. Characterization, plot, conflict, theme, setting, protagonist, antagonist. All that, I'm trying to make it simple for you so it'll be easier because, like I said, writing is a journey, not a destination, and you'll be studying for a long time. I'm still learning. I'm on book 14, chapter 3, and I'm still learning. I'm always learning. You never stop learning. It's a journey. It's never destination. Don't ever think that you learned everything that you need to know to be a writer because you won't. You'll always be changing. Okay, love you guys. Bye-bye now.